but is Summoning Salt. Summoning Salt is a YouTuber who like very rarely uploads, and he uploads like things related to speedrunning, and he does a really good job. Summoning Salt.
August 4th, 2012. Streaming live on a young website called twitch.tv, a player is trying to beat perhaps the most famous world record in all of video gaming. The Super Mario 64 120 star.
I know, Siglemic.
It's a competition of how quickly you can collect every star in the most popular 3D platformer of all time. It's part of a relatively new hobby called speedrunning. 120 stars is a prestigious enough record that it's rarely broken at this
How many of you watch Siglemic on Twitch?
This day, one man is determined to do it. His name is Siglemic.
One?
Siglemic has been going
Oh my god,
at
you
this
actually
for a while.
were.
Even today, he's already been streaming for several hours. He makes dozens of attempts at the record, each one dying to mistakes or just being too slow. But eventually, he's able to get a fast start. Siglemic collects star after star, displaying incredible movement and other techniques. Thousands of livestream viewers watch.
Look at the splits. This is like what people would do to fucking do splits.
As he makes it
Isn't
past
this
30
crazy?
stars, then 50, then 70. He's pulling far ahead. This is on pace for a new world record.
There was no
The
like good
impressive
live
gameplay
split.
Continues. Excitement is building. He's doing things that most viewers can't even fathom. And then, minutes away from a new world record, he arrives at one of the last stars, the Rainbow Ride 120 star.
Wait,
This one is super.
is it bad that I think I was watching this when it happened? I think I know exactly how he loses this run. Can I tell you guys just a little? Sorry to be opposing Peter. I remember because on the carpet he couldn't collect the star. He just jumps off.
Easy. All you have to do is stand still.
I was
on a
watching
magic carpet
in
and collect
2012.
a few coins.
Wait, this is so
Siglemic
crazy.
does that, and the 117th star
This is where he
appears.
falls off, like right
All
now.
he has to do now is jump up and collect it.
On a world record.
This is the
run.
worst way to lose a record. An hour and 41 minutes of beautiful gameplay, and it had all been for nothing. Siglemic could do some things in Mario 64 that nobody else could.
No.
Yet, right here, he could have handed the controller
so
off to
sad.
anyone, and they would have collected the star. After finishing the run, Siglemic talked to his stream about what happened.
Like,
Wait, I was
couldn't even
there!
believe it. Like I paused and I was just like looking at it. I just like felt nothing. I don't even know like how long it would take me to get a run like this. Again, it'll probably take a while. I can't believe I threw that kind of run away.
In this moment, Siglemic felt tiny. His best ever chance at the record thrown in the garbage.
I was not chatting.
Sometimes, attempts at greatness end in tragedy. It's a necessary evil. Because if there's never any tragedy, then greatness would feel insignificant.
Oh my god, dude! I'm a legend!
Oh my god.
Summoning Salt intro.
Oh my god, dude!
What a rush.
No way!
What a fucking rush.
And now, a word from this video's sponsor, Factor. Factor lets you pick from a variety of meals and have them delivered to
I
your
won't
door.
skip it. Use
Just
this
pop it in the
code.
microwave and eat it. Factor is a great
Holy
product if you have a
shit.
type of diet in mind. If you're on a keto diet, they have
I'm
higher fat
eating
options that are low
falafel.
carb. If you're on a low-calorie diet, they have
Wait, I am
lower
in my
calorie
glow up era
options.
though.
Different diets are recommended for different lifestyles, so you should be mindful of how much of each macro you eat in each meal. Luckily, Factor is transparent about the nutritional value of each meal on their website and on the back of each package. Check the daily recommended values to make a plan that's right for you. Factor also has a variety of smoothies, protein shakes, and other drinks you can order. Once again, you can tailor these to the type of diet you wish to follow. High protein options, higher fat keto options, or fruit smoothie options.
Ooh!
Just check the nutrition facts right on their website. To try Factor, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50SummoningSalt to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50SummoningSalt at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Thanks to Factor for sponsoring this video.
You're welcome.
Let's start with an overview of the speedrun. Super Mario 64 has a total of 120 stars for you to collect. You only need to collect 70 of them to beat the game, but a full 100% completion involves collecting all 120 stars.
Yep.
How do you collect them? Well, the game has 15 levels, and each level contains 7 stars. That accounts for 105 stars, and the remaining 15 come from various locations, scattered throughout the castle, some stages like Peach's Slide, and the Bowser levels. Most of the game's stars involve defeating bosses or completing objectives. Each level also has a star you earn from collecting 100 coins, known as the 100 coin star. Once you collect enough stars, you can fight Bowser to earn keys. These keys unlock new sections of the castle.
Thanks, Shark.
There are 3 main areas. You start in the lobby with its 4 levels, then unlock the basement and its 5 levels, and later unlock upstairs and its 6 levels.
This is correct.
Importantly, within each section of the castle, there's a lot of flexibility in the order you can play the levels. While 120 star is at the forefront of speedrunning today, it certainly didn't start that way. Let's go back to the very beginning. The first sign of 120 star speedrun activity comes from the year 2004 on the speedrunning hub Speed Demos Archive.
Oh my god.
Super Mario 64 was just 8 years old at this point.
Just 8 years old?
Various people created forum threads asking what a 120 star speedrun would look like, hoping somebody would be willing to try it. 2 speedrunners took up the task, Spider-Man 88mil and Jason. Their runs were unrecorded, but they posted
Dynamic
updates
duo,
in forum
Spider-Man
threads,
and Jason.
trading the record back and forth throughout 2004.
Dude, these internet
Finally,
forums were
in
so
December,
good.
Spider-Man 88mil got
I
a record
hate
he
boomer
was happy
posting,
with.
but that
2
shit
hours,
was so
58
good, man.
minutes, and 49 seconds. He recorded it on VHS, and
Thank you,
across
girl,
the next
Kanye.
21 years, that footage survived.
He burned it on a VHS. His run. And we can see it?
Let's take a look at the earliest recorded 120 stars.
Holy
speedrun.
shit. 3 hours.
The first thing to notice is the movement. Spider-Man 88mil did a lot of long jumps, performed by pressing Z and then jumping.
Holy shit,
This
wait,
is
this
one
looks
of
like
the
my
fastest
gameplay.
ways of moving through the game. Faster than
Look
just
how
running.
ugly it is.
Then there's the routing. The order of collecting all 120 stars is important. You don't
Sorry,
want to waste
taped it,
time
not burned
backtracking,
it,
for
taped
instance. There's a couple basic rules he followed.
Thank you, Nodboard.
He always collected all 7 of a level's stars before heading to the next level.
Oh my god, he did
And
every
generally
level like
completed
that?
all
That's
levels
so
in an
funny.
area before moving on. These rules helped ensure he made it through as fast as possible. Now, as for the gameplay itself, parts of it were pretty impressive for such an early run. For instance, to save time on the Will Penguin Lost Star, he jumped over the
Dude,
edge
this is just how Atriot gets these stars.
Generated
Holy shit, have you seen?
right where he needed to be,
This is
rather
how
than
he
sliding
does it
down the
today.
slopes. In Womp's Fortress, instead of using the cannon, he cleverly used a side flip to reach the chute into the wild blue star.
Whoa!
Little
Guys,
scrap-
the first fucking speedrunner side flipped into that. You have no excuse. You have to do that strat.
Strategies like these were used throughout the 3-hour run, saving him small amounts of time over a casual playthrough. But certain sections made it quite clear that this was an early speedrun. He died 4 times and played very slowly in other parts, not at all like a modern run. Perhaps the most infamous moment came in Shifting Sandland, when he just couldn't quite reach the star in the pyramid.
Holy shit. Wow.
It's silly to think of such moments being in a world record today, but in 2004, things were bound to happen across a 3-hour speed.
I mean, just imagine this is the first speedrun done in this game. Like, there's no tutorial, there's no movement guides, there's no routing. Like, this is insanely impressive. A sub 3 hours of playing this is incredible.
Spider-Man 88 Mil received lots of praise for his record. Most had never seen a run of the game like this before, and although they could see its imperfections, they were impressed
Speedrunning
to
wasn't
see such
even
a high
popular.
level of gameplay
Wait,
mostly
less than 3.
sustained across 3 hours. Interestingly, Jason realized after watching the run that he'd sort of already beaten it.
Oh!
He'd played on the PAL version of the game,
Oh, it's
which
slower.
runs at 5/6 the speed of the NTSC version that Spider-Man 88 Mil played on. So, Jason's 316 would have been timed as a 244 on NTSC, but since it was both unrecorded and played on PAL, it didn't count, and Spider-Man 88 Mil had the official world record. After 2004, we enter a strange period of 120 Stars history. Much of this era has been lost to time, but here's what we do know. Throughout 2005 and 2006,
I was
a
not
number of new
paying
120
attention to
Star
speedrunning
speedruns were
here.
submitted to Speed Demo's archive, and every single one was rejected by the site admins.
Oh!
Why? Well, speedrun verification on Speed Demo's archive worked differently back then. They only wanted high-quality speedruns on their website, both in video quality and quality
DVD
of gameplay.
recorders.
So even if someone submitted a run that was fast enough for a new record, admins could reject it if they felt you could do better.
What? Ew!
That happened repeatedly with 120 Star. Multiple runs were submitted to SDA that beat Spider-Man 88 Mil, but since the site admins already had a 120 Star run, and they weren't overly impressed by the new runs, they rejected them. A baffling concept today, but it was the norm back then. It's unknown how many times this occurred, but we know it happened twice to a player known as Amoeba 2. In May 2005, he submitted a 254, and in February 2006, he submitted a 247. Both were rejected from SDA. There are also rumors that a player named Ikanaki got a time of 242, but without video proof.
Yeah, right.
Fortunately,
that's like, I don't believe anyone that types like that. It's like if someone comes in my chat and says, I have the world record, I'm just an offline runner. Like,
period in
come
history
on,
wouldn't
man.
last long.
Yeah,
because
right.
Then in 2006, a new player appeared on the forums,
Squeex.
intrigued about the possibility of completing a 120 Star run. His name was Dragorn.
Dragorn!
Dragorn had a different approach. He didn't want to just beat the run on the site, a 258.49. He wanted to demolish it, leaving no chance for his run to be rejected.
It wasn't
His
Clint.
goal was to take more than 40 minutes off the record and get a...
Okay, are you an OG Clint viewer? 2013? You're old as hell like me. Do you remember? Speedrunners fucking hated Clint. That's when Prezzo messaged me and said, you made it, bro, when speedrunners start hating you.
sub 250.
They couldn't stand Clint.
Dragorn himself wasn't sure if this was possible, but he got community members excited. Many of them tried to help out, even if their computers limited them. Members from all over the site, who played all different games, eagerly awaited Dragorn's run. Even Spider-Man 88 Mil joined the thread, saying that he felt sub 230 was possible, but not sub 215. Over the next few months, Dragorn posted his progress learning the speedrun. He borrowed many strategies from the existing 70-star record, and looked at coin routes from Curtis Bright's Mario 64
Holy
website.
shit.
Finally, after months of practice, Dragorn posted that he'd completed a run. 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 47 seconds.
Damn! Almost saved
Can
an hour! Can I be father to one of your children? That's incredible, man. Keep it up.
The community was amazed that he'd taken half an hour off the record like it was nothing. But there was no video posted. It was hard to upload long videos in 2006, and Dragorn felt he could still lower the time a bit more. So, rather than mail in this VHS tape to SDA, he'd wait for the best run he could get.
Damn!
Dragorn kept improving, and his updates in the forum thread continued. A week later, he posted a 2:18:07. People started trash talking the 258 run currently on the site, knowing that Dragorn had crushed it. A few weeks later, another update. He was now in the 216 range. Finally,
did people just believe things back then? Sorry, but yes, because like the internet wasn't like people on the internet felt like a small community. I don't know how to explain it. Like the internet now has become so like there's a fight for attention. When I was a kid, the internet was more like
do you like me?
Like a cool, like a table at a lunchroom. You know? Like there was no reason to lie, there was no benefit. There was no financial benefit to lying, which is what I think makes speedrunning so special. Because there is really no financial benefit of being great at speedrunning. It's just for the love of the game. That's what makes it cool. Just like how Counter-Strike was, but now as people want to start playing games for making money, it's cringe. It becomes cringe.
Dragorn posted his newest time, 2:14:32 with 0 deaths. This accomplished his sub 215 goal, but he was still unsatisfied. He'd been playing since January and was at the very top of his skills now. Could he do even better if he kept going? Well, Dragorn continued his attempts, and a few days later, he posted one final update in the forums. 2:10:40. A time that even he thought was impossible. Dragorn submitted the run to SDA, and everyone got excited. Nowadays, you can watch a run as soon as it happens, but back then you had to wait for it to be published. And there was a huge sense of anticipation.
Beating Mario in 2 hours.
It was finally accepted and posted on the site a couple weeks later. At long last, all these members who have been tracking his progress over the past 9 months were able to watch Dragorn's masterpiece.
Truly outclassed. Alright, let's see it. Let's see his run.
Improvements right from the opening seconds of the run. Dragorn goes for and hits a trick called Lakitu.
Holy shit!
When you walk on the bridge to enter the castle,
he gets
Lakitu
in 2006?
to explain how the camera works. But if you only touch the very edge of the bridge, you never hit the trigger for the cutscene and are able to skip it.
How does he know?
This only saves about 10 seconds, but the fact that Dragorn hits it is a sign of what's to come. In Bob-omb Battlefield, he gets a trick called Bomb Clip, albeit a different version than what's done in runs today.
Oh, wait, let's see the old
By taking the bomb to the corner of the gate, then jumping as it explodes, you'll get pushed behind the gate and are free to collect the star.
Shit!
Much faster than having to use the
funny
chalk.
Looking.
In general, there was much less playing it safe, and more tricks used to shave seconds off here and there. In Cool Mountain, he quickly dropped down to the wall kicks will work star instead of
actually such a god.
Record. In Dire Docks, instead of using the slow poles to collect red coins, he did a series of difficult jumps to reach the platforms. This was a true speedrun. There were strategies, there were tricks, there were things you would not see in a normal playthrough.
Wow.
And importantly, Dragorn completed the entire run without dying. This was all everyone was hoping for and more. Dragorn stepped away from Mario 64 for good after this.
What a baller.
Before he left, he posted a comment talking about the future of 120-star speedruns. He felt that a 209 was right around the human limit. A sub 2-hour speedrun was completely out of the question.
Oh man, how wrong he was.
After Dragorn's run, the SDA community lost interest in 120-star, as well as most other Mario 64 categories. Throughout the rest of 2006, 2007, and 2008, Dragorn's record stood unchallenged. Then, in 2009,
the world record is 1 hour and 35 by Screen
Super Mario
Suigi.
64 community popped up, but this time it was in Japan. Prior to now, 120-star hadn't seen competition from this part of the world, but in 2009, a group of runners from Japan started streaming speedruns to Nico Nico, a site that let you both live stream and upload videos. This new community turned into the best speedrunners the game had ever seen. They were aware of Dragorn's 120-star record on SDA and set that as their goal time to beat. Once they blew past that record, they competed against each other to take the 120-star record as low as possible. How did they do it?
How?
Well, on SDA, all the runners had to go off of was their own records. But by 2009, this new community had a great advantage. They had the SDA videos, plus their own live streams, a thriving
Whoa.
community filled with players, competitive single-star leaderboards, and more. Runners were able to better collaborate,
Thank you,
and it led
Seagrows.
to way more optimization than the game had seen previously. However, there are a couple caveats about their runs. For one thing, Nico didn't save livestream recordings over 30 minutes long, so the majority of records from this time period are lost. A few videos did survive, and we'll talk about those in a minute, but most records only—
Wait, Ryan, hasn't Twitch become so fucking cringe? Like, holy shit. Isn't it crazy, man? For another old head. Twitch has become such shit, hasn't it?
exist as text on a web page. And then there's
Always
the other
was.
caveat, version differences.
Squeex
All early
Reacting.
runs of the game were played on Nintendo 64. However, by 2009, it was very possible to play the game on an emulator. While Speed Demo's archive expressly prohibited the use of emulators, that wasn't a universal rule.
Emulator runs?
And over in Japan, the Mario 64 speedrunning community was essentially starting from scratch.
Thank you, Hal Pal.
They decided to
Hi,
allow
chat. You
emulators
look
for
great
speedrun
today.
submissions. And as it turns out, there's a key difference between emulator and console runs. An emulator has much faster load times and much less lag than an
Okay, I kind of have a hot take about this. Emulator runs should be the norm.
Nintendo 64.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything of what I'm saying, but I like emulator.
Or-
We should make Mario more accessible.
The time adds up quickly.
Ion
Over the
Moofox,
course
thank
of a
you.
2-hour run, an emulator
Like,
picks
I
up
don't think,
about-
like, the standard of finding a Nintendo 64 with a controller and a working way to plug it in and stream it, like, it's not a good... It's hard, because it's all limited quantity. It's expensive.
a full minute compared to an original console. That means emulator runners
It is a
have
separate
roughly
category.
60-second advantage.
Thank you, Amy Ray.
Players in Japan couldn't agree if they should prioritize original hardware or the fastest version available, so there was high-level competition on both. For the next year and a half, the majority of world records were set on emulator, and most were set by one player, Honey.
Honey.
He repeatedly lowered his time down through 2:05, down
Honey.
to 2 hours flat, before finally achieving a 1:59:20.
Damn,
On
sub
Nintendo
two.
64, this time would be a full minute slower. But remember, Dragorn's best run on console was a 2:10, so this 1:59 was in a class of its own.
That's crazy.
How was Honey able to save so much time over Dragorn's run, which was itself considered excellent when it was achieved? Well, luckily, Honey's 1:59 is one of the few runs from this period with surviving video, so we're actually able to see it.
Holy shit.
It is nothing short of incredible.
Sub 2 hours? This is so early days still.
Once again, we'll start with the movements.
What is
Honey
that?
used more than just long jumps to move around quickly.
Holy
He mixed
shit.
in dives
Jump
and
dives.
rollouts to move a little bit faster. This may have
Dude,
saved
a
a second or
sub 2 hours is even... It's impressive now.
two per star, but across the whole
It's still
run,
pretty
this adds
good.
up to multiple minutes of time save. Beyond the movement, Honey went for numerous faster strategies that were riskier than what Dragorn did, and showed off a higher level of gameplay overall. For instance,
I
in
wonder
Bob on
how all these
Battlefield,
people are
you're
doing now.
intended to open the cannon and launch up to the big island in the sky.
Like, are they all just
which
chilling?
Is what Dragorn did. Instead, Honey gained speed off the slope, then did a triple jump with the wing cap to fly and make it up top. Quite a bit more impressive looking. In Womp's Fortress, he went for and hit Owless, a very precise trick where you must triple jump and kick off the side of the cage, then land back inside to collect the star. It only saves a few seconds over using the owl to drop in, but this is the level of execution that Honey...
Hi, Shy Lily. Thank you for the raid. I hope you had a good stream. Thank you, Chev. Yo, thank you for the 1,000 bits. What the hell? Thank you, Mickey Vrix. We're watching SummoningSalt's History of 120 Star Super Mario 64 video. Smile.
he could pull off.
Thank you.
Another
Thank you,
example
Diesel
of strategy
Kid.
improvement is how he handled the level Hazy Mazy Casey Cave, or HMC for short. This level has many different rooms, but there's no ceiling, so if you can get high enough to clear the walls, then you can quickly jump from room to room. For instance, by side
Holy
flipping
shit, he's doing side flips?
and kicking off the wall.
Wait, he didn't do the clip, did he? I looked away.
Honey was
Oh
able
my god,
to
he
clear the
does.
wall
Wait, he's so fucking good.
and make it to the swimming beast in the cavern star. He did similar tricks all
In
through
2010?
HMZ to save 2 minutes over
How do you
Dragorn.
figure stuff like this out?
This type of gameplay
Thank you,
continued
sir.
even
CK
upstairs during some
Murfinator.
of the game's hardest levels. Just about the only major flaw was a death in the Wing Mario over the
Thank you,
Rainbow
Isa.
Star, which kicked him all the way outside the castle.
Oh
Despite
god.
that, it finished 11 minutes faster than
Holy
Dragorn's SDA run.
shit.
One of those minutes came from emulator time
OMG,
saves, but the other
OMG.
10 were legit. Just better gameplay across the entire run. Over the next few months, the 120-star record underwent a period of rapid improvement.
This
These
video is
new
not
runners
gonna
were
make
all
me
pushing
cry,
each
is
other,
it?
breaking new ground and seeing just how far their talent could take them. Remember,
How are you not
120-star
VIP?
speedruns were still pretty novel, and as much skill as they took, there was room to optimize them more. Throughout 2010, there were several more records set on both emulator and console. Batora, Honey, and Natoshin Elmo traded the record back and forth.
Badora! Recognize Badora?
Although no video exists for any of their runs. Finally, 7 months after the last record with surviving video, we're able to see another one. 156.17 on console
Shig
by a
Cycle.
runner named Shigeru. When accounting for emulator time difference, this run was 4 minutes faster than the last record with video. That's a lot of progression over just 7 months. Shigeru's biggest strength was his movements, which can be seen in the Bowser stages. These levels have objects
This is
that
not
move on
Miyamoto.
cycles, like elevators and moving platforms. In Bowser in the Dark World,
I don't want to brag,
Shigeru's
I can do this cycle.
movement collecting the 8 red coins was fast enough to make an earlier cycle, which is still known today as Shigeru Cycle. He also saved time by
Shig
going for
Cycle.
front sub in Dire Dire Docks. Boarding
I
from
can't
the
do
front
front
has
sub.
more lag and is more precise than boarding from
Man,
the
they
back,
already passed
but
me,
it
it's
is
like
faster,
2010.
and Shigeru nailed it. He avoided dying on the Wing Mario over the Rainbow Star, and was just a little bit cleaner overall than what we saw 7 months ago. Then, in the summer of 2010, due to concerns over cheating, the Japanese community decided to split the leaderboards for 120-star. Emulator runs
What?
would have one leaderboard, and console runs would have another.
Smart.
This led to the
Thank you,
community
Goofy.
starting to prioritize console runs, and most runners began to switch away from emulator. By late 2010, pretty much all top runners were playing on console, and directly competed against Shigeru's 156 world record. The next several months were more of the same. Elmo set a new world record time of 155.42. Later in December, Batora got a 154 and then a 152. All these runs were on console,
A
with no more
152?
controversy over which platform was best. In early 2011, Natoshin Elmo got a 151, Honey beat him back with a 150, before
What the
Natoshin Elmo
fuck?
came through
Wait, they're so good. A 149.
a 149.49.
With a 3-hour first run. And it started in what, 2008?
This was the first ever
So, like,
sub
3
150
years they
in
shaved
Mario
off
64
like
history,
hours.
and remains one of its most popular records, with 12 million views on YouTube. But there's not too much to add about these runs. They didn't incorporate anything revolutionary. It was all about cleaner execution and fewer mistakes. Honey's 149 in particular was a masterpiece of consistency. Over the past year, these runners have been pushing each other to minimize mistakes and execute all strategies cleanly. And Honey's 149 was viewed as the pinnacle, the most consistent run the game had ever seen. This was a vibrant, active group that had transformed
so
the way
cool.
120-star speedruns were done. The amount of new tricks, the incredible movement, they just kept finding ways to take the record lower. The Japanese community formed 2 years earlier, and in that time they'd taken the world record down by 21 minutes. During that entire period, nobody outside of Japan was competitive for the 120-star record. The last relevant Western player was Dragorn, back in 2006.
Colon D.
Now 5 years later, that was still the fastest time outside of Japan. While games like Super Mario Bros. And Ocarina of
Ew.
Time were growing and thriving, 120-star had essentially been abandoned by the West. But that was about to change.
Here comes Squeex. Yeah,
In
here I come.
2010, a website called Speedruns Live became popular. Speedruns Live allowed you to race a game head-to-head
SRL.
against
This is when,
any-
okay, now this is when I slowly started paying attention. Look at the first place, Man Bear Pig 7.
buddy.
Now
It kept track of
slowly
your
I
time and
understand.
declared a winner at the
Holy
end.
shit, Flex?
Speedrunners loved using it, and by late 2010, a group of runners were regularly racing Super Mario
ZFG,
64.
Siglemic,
They learned fast strategies
Sicko.
to collect all the stars and pushed each other to get better. While their times weren't impressive at first, their frequent races allowed them to improve quickly.
Siggy.
By 2011, a few of them had gotten good. Really good. To the point
Damn!
of
I
starting
could
to
do that.
rival the amazing players over in Japan. 3 players rose above the rest.
Siglemic.
Their names were Giano, Sicko, and Siglemic. By mid-2011, through repeated races against each other, they all managed to get personal bests in the low 150s, just a few minutes behind the world record. All 3 players were roughly equal in skill. They raced every week, and it was a mix of who came out on top. But that gradually changed. Over time,
Sorry to be pausing, Peter. You know how, like, when Kai Cenat did his Elden Ring marathon and everyone was so obsessed with it? Like, everyone was talking about it. It was, like, crazy. Like, that would be Siglemic running Mario. Even if you didn't watch Mario, you'd still watch that shit. Like, that's how peak it was on Twitch in the early days. Like, that's the reason why people would log on to Twitch, is to watch Siglemic fail canonless.
one player came out on top more often. By the summer of 2011, the winner of the majority of these races was Siglemic.
Would he have a lot of viewers? He would have, like, I'm not even kidding you, 80% of the total site's viewers. It was like 20K. And at that time, holy shit. That was, it was almost everybody on Twitch was watching Sig.
He took the game more seriously. He practiced more often. After setting a personal best of 151.15 in June, Siglemic started to feel that he had a chance to take the record. He grinded for weeks, playing for hours nearly every single day. His time started to approach the record shockingly fast. It took him just months to get times that took most runners years. It was exciting to watch him improve, and many were rooting for him. If he could pull this off, it'd be the first record outside of Japan in half a decade. And then, on July 23rd, 2011, it happened. Siglemic got a 149.05, a new world record by 44
Let's go, America!
seconds. Siglemic did one notable thing in this run that really exemplifies his playstyle.
I was
he chose
there?
to play
I don't think I was there
Fortress
for this one.
early, right after collecting the first star. This was so he could go for a trick called Cannonless. You're intended to get the blast away the wall star by launching out of the cannon, breaking the wall, and revealing the star. However, it's possible to run at the wall from above, then ledge grab, which pushes Mario's hitbox above where he appears. It intersects with the star, and you collect it without having to get in the cannon. This trick is extremely precise. You can run at the wall all you want, and usually you won't ledge grab. So, Siglemic chose to go for this trick very early in the run.
Crazy, he runs
If
off
he
the
missed it
ledge.
too many
There was
times-
no setup. This is the only way to do it. This is the only thing they used to do. So, like, you'd play perfectly on 120, and then you would run off the ledge and ruin the run. There was no lineup. That came
and he
later.
just reset, not having wasted too much time.
So most
In this
runs would
new
just go into the
record, he
trash
got
because of
cannonless
this
quickly,
trick.
setting him off to a great start. But here's the weird thing. Beyond this, while the run was fantastic, some who watched it felt it wasn't quite as impressive as the previous record. Siglemic made more mistakes, his movement wasn't quite as good. It's what you'd expect from someone who'd been running the game for under a year. But his time was faster than Elmo's run. There was no denying it. Something wasn't adding up. Now, most
Wait
in
a
Japan
second.
respected Speed Demo's archive, and when Siglemic's run was posted to the site, they immediately took notice. But instead of being wowed by Siglemic's achievement, many of them were upset. And they had a good reason. See, Siglemic didn't play on an emulator, but he also didn't play on a Nintendo 64.
What?
He played on the Wii Virtual Console. This version was what many Western speedrunners played on at the time. It was cheap if you already owned a Wii, and easier than a Nintendo 64.
That
It
bastard.
also just happened to save a full 2 minutes from reduced loads and lag. That meant if Siglemic's run was played on an original console like
Kill
Elmo's,
him.
it probably would have been a 151. That's a fair distance from the record. Siglemic's run was objectively worse. The only reason it was faster was because of Virtual Console. Now,
Dude, the
Japan had a
VC.
Virtual Console version too, but it was much slower than the US version. So if a Japanese runner wanted to compete with Siglemic, they'd either have to do so with a 2-minute disadvantage, or import an American Wii, which was very expensive and overall difficult at the time. This could have caused a massive controversy. Runners from all over the world playing on different versions, it would have been a mess. But Siglemic knew he could put an end to this right now.
What is this nonsense about every fucking version of this game running completely differently? Because Mario came out staggered, like there's a Japanese version, there's a early region-locked US version, there's a European version, and they all have very minor tweaks. But when you're speedrunning and trying to optimize, those tweaks are so important. Like how much, like for example, if there's a language localization and I hit A on a toad because to get a star, in the US version, maybe that takes 3 A button presses, but because in the Japanese version, the text boxes are less, it takes 1 button press and stuff like that. But there's also like stuff where the games just run differently.
When Honey explained how
Like, who cares if you're doing a casual playthrough, but when you're speedrunning for seconds, that can be huge.
hard it would be to beat his Virtual Console run, Siglemic responded, "Okay, I'll play on the Nintendo 64 going forward." And just like that, the matter was settled. All the top runners in Japan and the top runner in America
Holy shit,
would
let's
all
fucking
play
go.
on Nintendo 64. To this day, top-level Mario 64 competition is nearly exclusively done on original console. Over the next few months, Siglemic practiced and adjusted to the Nintendo 64, while Japanese runners continued to excel. That fall, Honey beat the record twice, first with a 149.25, then a 148.50.
Damn,
But in
dude.
November, a new runner from Japan took
A
over,
148.
Nero, and he became the first to implement a crazy trick at the start of the run.
Dude, LBLJs.
Bear with me for a moment,
Fuck this
because
shit.
this is a strange one. In Super Mario 64, there's a trick used in various categories called the backwards long jump, where you build up reverse speed by repeatedly
You guys know
long
this
jumping
one, right?
backwards. Now, LBLJ stands for Lobby Backwards Long Jump. By jumping into an out-of-bounds area accessible from the basement,
Thank you,
can
Pentaco.
repeatedly BLJ into the basement ceiling, which extends upward. You land in a black area right outside the front door with a lot of speed built up, then rotate the camera to help navigate Mario toward the
Look at this
8-star door
shit.
and through it.
Isn't that crazy?
What's the benefit of this? Well, you normally have to collect the first star of the run in Bob on Battlefield, but
thank
you
you,
can't
Itspin.
collect all the stars there until you have the wing cap, unlocked at 10 stars. This means you have
Thank
to
you,
eventually
Snowfully.
backtrack to Bob on Battlefield once you have the wing cap. With LBLJ, you collect the first star in Bowser in the Dark World, eliminating the need to backtrack and
I hope
saving
they
10
tell
seconds.
how they
It's
found
a
this
hard
trick.
for not a
'Cause it's a
huge
really
time
crazy
save,
story.
But Nero was good at it and pioneered it in 120-star runs. Ever since Siglemic's Virtual Console run, the Japanese community had picked up where they left off, continuing to improve and lower the record. Honey and Nero had each beaten the
skips
record
it?
twice.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Mario people, if you're out there or on the VOD channel, if this gets uploaded, correct me. But LBLJ was first found in a tool-assisted speedrun, like a computer basically inputting everything, and it was like it was a tool assisted, so it's like it's so inhuman to do. And then someone tried to replicate it because, you know, just to see if they can semi-do the inputs, and then they did it. So it was like basically computer inputs found it by having, you know, by using a tool assisted, and then just people were so fucking insanely good that they emulated that. So
Shaving 2 minutes
it
off
started out, it's basically what I'm trying to say, it started off as a task.
time. Meanwhile, Siglemic practiced hard on Nintendo 64, trying to catch up to
Liam, are you gonna be in part 2? I'm waiting for the Liam cameo here. Surely. Can you imagine if I'm in part 2?
the runners in Japan. He
Squeex in a SummoningSalt before Liam. Make it
got
happen.
better, soon surpassing where he was on Virtual Console. After months of practicing, he
Why
once
not?
again set his sights.
I mean, I am speedrunner of the year. Maybe he can do like a biopic of all the speedrunners of the year. What I am? I mean, I guess with Green Suigi, it's 5 out of 6. I can't just get
on the record.
I actually shouldn't say that when I'm reacting to Mario. I'm just joking.
In late 2011, Siglemic started live streaming his attempts to break the 120-star world record. He streamed to a brand new website called Twitch.tv.
Holy shit, ugly fucking logo. This literally took like...
And something strange happened. His live stream went viral.
Holy
Many people
shit.
had never seen Mario 64 speedruns before, and were captivated by Siglemic's level of gameplay. It was a novel concept
many
to play the game
Franker
like
face
this, and seeing a potential world record live was exciting.
Bro, why is the UI look so much better back then? You could choose your header?
His Twitch stream grew quickly. After a couple months, he was regularly pulling thousands of viewers. His community was determined to see him reclaim the record, loyally watching him play for hours and hours. The hype continued to build, while Siglemic continued to close in on the record. And it all culminated in a run just after Christmas 2011. Siglemic played a bit differently than Nero. He didn't go for LBLJ, but overall executed tricks a little faster. He hit Cannonless, got the fast cycle and Fire Sea that Nero missed, and went for a risky triple jump off the fin in Dire Dire Doc's 100.
Holy
After all this,
shit, he's so
Siglemic
good.
made it upstairs 25 seconds ahead of the record. Hype was building in the chat as the viewer count climbed into the thousands. The fast execution continued upstairs. His practice from the past few months paid
That's
off.
you!
He closed out the last few levels, defeated Bowser, and broke the world record in front of 4,500 viewers.
Holy shit.
This record made Siglemic an internet phenomenon. Threads appeared on all different forums.
Man, he really
News articles
was.
were written. Everyone wanted to hear about the man who
Speech. Get it? Because Peach is in Mario. Surely that's what they're referencing to, right? Careful, I'm scared of watching old Twitch chat. Wait, do you think any of these people follow me? The Soccer Man 1. Oh. Deleted.
in the world record live on stream. Siglemic had escaped from the niche of speedrunning and entered mainstream pop culture. It was the most attention speedrunning had ever received before. Many wondered how they could get involved.
Hello,
while
Reddit.
others were happy to have just witnessed it live. After all was said and done, Siglemic was satisfied and stopped playing 120 star. So, the Japanese community was able to take over once again. The three top runners in the world were Siglemic, Honey, and Nero. So it was only fitting that once Siglemic broke the record,
Pop culture,
Honey
huh?
and Nero quickly followed suit.
Siglemic skin in
March of
Fortnite
2012,
after Sabrina
Honey got a
Carpenter.
147.05, then Nero got a 146.35, both new
Whoa.
world records. So, the ball was back
Yo,
in
what's up,
Siglemic's
JQ?
court. He resumed streaming attempts to take back the record, but this time, he ran into some serious adversity. Throughout the spring and summer of 2012, Siglemic streamed often, but he wasn't able to break through.
No.
He was still getting a lot of viewers, captivating the attention of speedrunners.
Holy shit,
everywhere.
Shanzi! I've seen Shanzi in chats.
Yet, this time, they weren't rewarded with a new record. Siglemic was in a unique spot. He had an enormous live stream, played the most popular speedrun, and he really wanted to reclaim the record.
Damn, he has a
So,
better 70
that
star than
summer,
me.
he
He's got a
devised a
49.
plan. A plan that, to this day, remains a famous part of speedrunning history. The August Marathon. Throughout August 2012, Siglemic was going to stream for 12 hours a day, every single day, and hopefully lower the world record as much as he could. Siglemic's August Marathon is a legend from the old days of speedrunning. Unlike his previous streams, Siglemic put splits on the screen,
Holy
so viewers
shit.
could follow along and see exactly how far
Bro's
ahead or
fucking
behind
working
he
a 9 to
was.
5
The
spreadsheet.
splits in his gameplay on stream were enough to keep viewers captivated. Despite hardly talking at all, not even using a microphone for extended periods, viewers poured into these streams. Every day, he'd regularly have a few thousand viewers as a baseline. When he got on world record pace,
Dude, it would go
it'd
like
go up to 7,000,
crazy.
8,000, even 10,000 viewers or more.
Crazy.
And keep in mind, this was back
XQC be like, no, I'm not gonna get into drama. Let's take a look at the graph, dude. No, I'm just
in the year
joking.
2012.
I'm joking.
Despite the speedrunning community being much larger today, these types of numbers are practically impossible for a modern speedrunner to achieve.
Atrioc isn't summoning salt? No!
Today's viewing base is divided between hundreds or even thousands of streamers playing live at the same time. But in 2012, Siglemic was one of only a few speedrunning streamers, and he was playing an iconic game at the highest level. It was a perfect storm of conditions that often led to a viewer count above 10,000, one of the biggest live streamers in the world. They didn't care about a face cam, a microphone, or any of that. They just wanted to see an
Beautiful
amazing
days.
player destroy
This is
their
what I'm
video
talking
game.
about.
There's
Bring back the boring era of Twitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want just fucking a person playing a game, lightly saying
There's
something.
only one problem. Many years ago, Siglemic deleted all of his Mario 64 gameplay from Twitch and YouTube, meaning his August marathon has very little surviving footage. Thankfully, a few of his viewers were recording his stream during some of his good runs, and certain full runs were downloaded before they were deleted from YouTube. But still, much of his August marathon is completely lost to time.
This is terrible.
That being said, here's what we do know about the marathon. Siglemic started on August 1st, and for the first 3 days, nothing notable happened. But then on August 4th, he got a run that you're familiar with.
I am. I was there for this one. Oh, God.
It happened in front of 8,000 viewers during his August marathon. He had to come out of
Chauncey.
his crouch before jumping, then messed up his angle toward the star. As painful as this was, Siglemic was at the top of his game, and with daily 12-hour streams, there was no doubt he'd get another chance soon. Sure enough, on day 5 of the marathon, he got another run on record pace. Not quite as fast as what he had yesterday, though. He made mistakes upstairs, but nothing catastrophic. And after 5 days, 60 hours of streaming, Siglemic managed to break through.
146.
Oh my God, that was really the world record.
14,000 viewers had just witnessed a
Holy
new world record.
shit.
Once again, the news made it around the internet. But this was only August 5th. He still had more than 3 weeks to go. His record was 146.23.
Dude,
If he could
14,000
clean up
people seeing a
mistakes in
world
Tiny
record.
Huge
God
Island and
damn.
Rainbow Ride, a 145 was within his reach. Not much happened on day 6, but on day 7, Siglemic set another new record, 146.21, just a 2-second improvement. Unfortunately, no footage of this run survives today. All we have are a couple screenshots from the end of the run, showing his splits and the chat that was popping off. The August marathon was already a huge success. In only a week, Siglemic had broken the record twice and had the attention of the entire speedrunning community. Still 24 days to go. The 12-hour streams continued, and just 2 days later, something genuinely shocking happened. The 145 was achieved by Honey.
Honey.
While all eyes were on Siglemic, Honey had been doing 120-star runs too. Not quite as much, but still several hours per day. The final time was 145.41, and the video still exists in its entirety. The most
That's
notable
sick.
part was a new trick he went for called Pillarless. Normally, to enter the top of the
Pillarless,
pyramid,
let's
you
fucking
must reach
go.
the top of all 4 pillars to cause the
I can
pyramid's
do
top
this.
to fly off. Pillarless is a complicated trick that skips this. You throw and re-grab a bomb just before it explodes, pushing Mario backwards, then
Wasn't
enter
this a
state
task
called
trick as
hands-free
well
holding
initially?
and carefully navigate inside the top of the pyramid. It's very risky to go for in a long 120-star speedrun. Beyond that, Honey didn't add anything new. He simply played very consistently, especially in Rainbow Ride where Siglemic had struggled so much.
No?
Siglemic was a good sport about being beaten. After all, he had 22 days left to beat him back. Surely that would be enough time.
Surely!
Well, it took him 3 hours. This run too has become lost to time, but on the same evening as
Holy
Honey's
shit.
record, Siglemic beat him with a 1:45.35. We have but one screenshot of this run, showing 7,300
I bad. Clip. Suggested channel. I bad. Wow.
viewers losing their mind in the chat.
Connect to Facebook to share. Just seeing this is so crazy, isn't it? This is automatic Facebook sharing? What does that even mean? God damn.
Very little is known about the run itself. Judging by his splits, there was a major time loss in Shifting Sandland, and he capitalized on time save in Rainbow Ride. In just the first 9 days of his August marathon, Siglemic had set 2 records, been beaten, and then reclaimed the record. He couldn't have asked for a more exciting start. These 12-hour streams continued every day for the rest of the month, with thousands of viewers watching at all times. But over the final 22 days of August, he didn't set any new records.
No.
While we have a poor account of these remaining 22 days, Siglemic was known to have had some close calls. On August 23rd, he had a beautiful run. All this info comes from a single post on Reddit.
Oh my god. Wait, look at this person on their MacBook.
Run. All this info comes...
Real talk with Husky. H the Husky. Wait, this is so funny. This is such a college 4chan, Wikipedia, YouTube. This is crazy. Siglemic goes from 56 seconds ahead of world record. Oh, to even on the 119 star the last year before quitting. It is a sad day for mankind.
From a single post on Reddit. He seems to have had a modest lead, got a huge time save in Shifting Sandland, then gained more time upstairs. He was about a minute ahead of his 1:45.35, on pace for a mid 1:44. But something went horribly wrong in Rainbow Ride. These sorts of paces happened multiple times through the rest of August. The month ended with no new records, but it felt like a 1:44.
His chat was
right
so
on the
brutal
doorstep.
to him, I remember.
Even though the daily 12-hour streams were done, Siglemic was still motivated. And right on cue, on September 1st, he came through with the first ever 1:44.
Ooh!
This record is notable for being one of very few records from Siglemic that survived in its entirety. We can watch it from start to finish. And a pretty significant change in this run is Siglemic's route through the lobby. He played Cool Mountain later, then saved Jolly Roger Bay as the last level before going upstairs. This worked out well, as despite falling off the sub in Dire Docks, he opened up a 44-second lead over the record. He used the same route upstairs, which had been standard for quite some time now. Wet Dry World first, followed by Tiny Huge Island, Tall Mountain, and Snowman's Land, then up to Tippy for Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride. Of these levels, Tiny Huge Island was a bit slow at times, especially on the 100 coin star. But the key to success in 120 star is consistency, and Siglemic avoided any huge mistakes. It's what he needed to get a 1:44.52. And once again, the record blew up online.
Should I run 120 and just get the world record?
Blog posts, par for the course for Siglemic.
Tumblr
This guy
posts.
captured the gaming community's attention like no speedrunner had ever done before. Every record was in front of thousands of viewers, and was heard by many thousands more in the following days. It really can't be overstated the impact Siglemic had on speedrunning back in 2012.
Yeah.
Through his August marathon
He was like the
and
speedrunning
hundreds of
guy.
hours of dedication, he'd achieved a 1:44 while making speedrunning more popular than ever.
I love how, like, after every achievement, SummoningSalt's like, in front of thousands. He got this in front of thousands of viewers. Thousands. Like, I feel the same way. I'm like, he's so important. He had so many people. He was like the zeitgeist speedrunner.
Throughout the rest of 2012, Siglemic
This
played
is
the game
Sammy.
off and on.
Thank you for the prime.
His motivation dried up a bit once there were no threats to his record. He developed a cycle where he wouldn't play for several weeks, then came back and did a 12 or 24-hour stream.
Jesus.
It seemed like a perfect
It's
run.
so funny when I read comments like, he's like you, but good. This is what people would say in Siglemic's chat. There's never been a speedrunner who's, like, satisfied. Like, you don't understand, like, think about any speedrunner, even the greatest fucking speedrunner. Their chat's always like, why aren't you doing this? Ooh, are you scared this person's gonna overtake you? Or it's like, there's no satisfaction. Clint Stevens chat fucking used to call, you don't remember second place Clint? How could you even say that?
With his strategies and skills, could be a 143.
You don't fucking remember?
He had a high 144 right now, so he'd have to take another minute off. It was possible by cleaning up mistakes, but sustaining that level of gameplay over an hour and a half would be tough. In October, Siglemic took a step in that direction with a 144.23. As opposed to his last record, practically nothing is known about this run. No footage exists, and no splits have been provided.
Damn.
All we have are a couple screenshots someone posted to Reddit.
This is so funny. Shanzi, once again. The table flipping. The Franker face Z. Man.
Seconds after the end of the run. Siglemic continued the sporadic playstyle over the next couple months, and on December 19th, he came through with one more world record. 144.01.
Damn, dude, a 144.
This is another run with a full surviving video. His only significant mistake downstairs was when he messed up pillarless and died, costing him 25 seconds. Upstairs, he had a slow rainbow ride star when he missed the switch and then failed to back up. Those were his biggest mistakes across an hour and 44 minutes.
I've never seen
If he'd
that
only been
backup.
2 seconds faster,
What the fuck?
this would have been the 143. But it was still a really solid run, and a big cut off the record. This run finally satisfied Siglemic. He was now ahead of second place by a minute and a half, and his motivation died down even more. He was the king of Super Mario 64. He had the notoriety, the name recognition, and of course, his records spoke for themselves.
Wait, he said in that interview that he put 5,000 hours into the game. I have 5,000 hours in the game on Twitch. And I haven't done anything close enough to Siglemic.
When anyone thought of Mario 64 speedrunning, they thought of Siglemic. He ran
crazy.
120 star live at Awesome Games Done
Sig!
Quick in January
There he is!
2013. This was the first time most people had seen him before. Many called his run the best part of the week-long marathon. Entering 2013, Siglemic's streams really slowed down. He went months at a time without playing. A 143 was still possible, but it wasn't a high priority for him. There was no telling how long it'd take for him to be dethroned. Way ahead of everyone else, with his legacy already set in stone, Siglemic rode off into the sunset.
7 months later.
On August 18th, 2013, the Super Mario 64 community woke up to some pretty shocking news. A player named Hyacinth27 had supposedly just beaten Siglemic's 120-star record. The new time was 143.37, and he had streamed it live. Many had never heard of this guy before, and
Whoever
now
that
it seemed
is.
like he'd somehow beaten Siglemic to the 143. Supportive messages poured in. Even Twitch themselves congratulated Hyacinth. But how could this happen? What was going on? Well, while Siglemic got massive attention for his 120-star records in 2012, a group of runners was trying to get good in the background on Wii Virtual Console, which, as we know, would give them a 2-minute advantage. There was still no official ruling on Virtual Console runs, so they knew a faster run might be considered the official world record, even if it was worse played than Siglemic's runs on console. Over time, most of these runners gave up, but one kept going.
Me.
Hyacinth.
Oh.
Throughout early 2013, he got good on Virtual Console. By August, with the built-in advantage, he was good enough to beat Siglemic's time.
What's Virtual Console? Virtual Console is a way to play old games on the Nintendo Wii. It's like a virtual, it's like an emulator on the Nintendo Wii. That's what it is. And you could buy it.
technically achieving the first one.
So like that, the game would run better on that than like an old ass console from the fucking 90s.
43 in Super Mario 64 history.
So that's the
And
drama.
controversy erupted. Hyacinth was a very good player, but the footage showed he wasn't on Siglemic's level. He got some hard tricks, like cannonless and pillarless,
Damn!
but he had plenty of slow moments. And overall, his movement wasn't as clean either. The community was divided on how to treat this run. Some felt it was a legit new world record, and Siglemic should have been playing on Virtual Console all along.
That's such a stupid fucking argument. God, it's always, I'm sorry to add toxicity to this, it's always the dumbest fucking people who have the strongest opinions on things in speedrunning.
Agreed, and thought
I
Virtual
hate this
Console
shit.
was its
Well, then just play on the
own
fastest
separate
one.
category.
Forehead.
It was a valid question. Do you prioritize original hardware or fastest version available? There was no set way of dealing with it. How did Siglemic feel about all this? Well, he wasn't too happy. Here was this new guy, clearly not as good and with an inferior run, claiming world record based off a technicality.
Yeah.
Siglemic could have been playing on Virtual Console too, but remember, he chose not to all those years ago so that he could be on equal footing with Japanese runners. Hyacinth did the exact opposite. He specifically picked Virtual Console so he could have an advantage. So, Siglemic devised a plan. He created a brand new Twitch account, based Earn God.
Wait,
He stuck a weird looking timer in the top left. He booted up Mario 64 on Virtual Console. He distorted the colors to deliberately make it look horrible. He played copyrighted music in the background. And within hours, he beat the run that Hyacinth took months to achieve.
That is so baller. Isn't that crazy? I am now world champ at Mario 64. Oh yes! Holy fucking shit.
Siglemic had made a statement. Wii Virtual Console was its own category. Nintendo 64 was the only legit way to run the game. Just like he'd done in 2011, it more or less ended the platform debate. The recognized world record was Siglemic's 144.01 on Nintendo 64, and to this day, nobody else has ever threatened the world record on anything other than an original Nintendo 64.
True.
After that curious saga was over, things went back to normal. Siglemic did attempts every now and then, but for the most part he left the 120-star record alone. He was tired of resetting over and over again early for Cannonless. It wasn't too fun. But finally, in early 2014, Siglemic started to get some legitimate competition. For the first time since Honey in 2012, somebody moved within half a minute of his world record. The runner's name was Puncation. Punkay started running the game in 2012, inspired by old school runners like Giano and later Siglemic. He began streaming in 2013 and steadily lowered his 120-star PB from the 150s to the 140s, gradually approaching Siglemic's level. This slow and methodical march downward culminated in a 144.30, the closest anyone had been to Siglemic in years.
Dude, Punkay's a real
Punkay's
OG.
run had a particularly slow start, with a bad Whomp's Fortress and Cool Mountain. But that just showed he had more time to save. The potential was there to get a 143. With Punkay closing in, Siglemic ramped up his attempts again. He was so close to a 143.
Yeah, he was an
Just 2 more
OnlyFans.
seconds and he'd be satisfied. He started doing 24-hour streams of 120-star, and supposedly had some amazing attempts. A Reddit post from March 18th details one run that was on pace for a massive record deep, but Sig made catastrophic mistakes at the end to kill it. This continued into April. Siglemic just couldn't beat his 144.01. Then on April 22nd, it was Punkay coming through with another PB.
Let's fucking go. Thank you,
144.11,
Peen Jesus.
performed live in front of thousands of viewers. He was now just 10 seconds away from Siglemic. This run was also on 143 pace deep, but he died on Rainbow Ride going for the Lakitu.
Oh.
You're intended to go above the red coins to get to the cruiser, but by precisely wall kicking and then bouncing off Lakitu, you can take a shortcut to get there faster. It's difficult, and Punkay died going for
I can do it.
Had he not, this would have been the first ever 143. Siglemic was on the verge of this slipping away. He'd been dominant ever since the record was a 146. It seemed like 143 would be his natural end goal, but now Punke had swooped in. And it might be too late. Determined to get the 143, he started up a stream the same day as Punke's 144.11. Just as usual, Siglemic played for hours, much of that time spent at the start of the game. But eventually, he got a run going, and it was evident that this time, he was locked in.
No.
Oh, saved.
He gradually worked his way through the basement. Hazy Maze Cave, Lethal Lava Land, Big Boo's Haunt. He made small mistakes, but nothing huge. Star after star went down. He eventually made it upstairs, exactly 1 second ahead of the record. Everything intensified now. He was entering the home stretch,
I'm scared.
but also some of the game's hardest levels.
1
Despite
second.
this, everything went smoothly until he played Tall Tall Mountain. Siglemic failed to enter the wall and had to bail to another star. Not a huge mistake, but without splits he couldn't tell how bad it was. After, things went well for a while,
Oh my God,
but he had
no
a rough
splits.
100 coin star in Tick-Tock Clock. He missed one single coin from a question mark block,
Oh!
and when he tried to chase it down, it had fallen over the edge. So,
There's a
he had to go
box.
out of his way to collect more coins. After Tick-Tock Clock, Siglemic was 4 seconds behind the record. The 143 might still be possible, but from here to the end, Siglemic would need near perfection.
Ooh, does he do it? Wait, I can do this trick. Wait, I do this too. This too.
All right, 143. That's it.
Holy
just got
shit, he
143.
did it.
That was sick.
Overwhelming relief. After years of the 144.01 being on top, finally, the 143 was real.
As a reminder, current world record, an hour 35. Can you believe, like, that is such an insane run, but just as a reminder, 35 minutes. This is what Green Suiji has.
And despite
If you can
Punke
believe
making
that.
a push, Siglemic was the one to achieve it. While he did have his share of slowdowns, the ending of this run was amazing. Close to perfect gameplay throughout Rainbow Ride and Bowser in the Sky. An extremely well-deserved record, and a massive milestone in the game's history.
I've never run 120.
That being said, most thought this record wouldn't last long. It seemed inevitable that, any day now, Punke was going to take over. His time was on a collision course with Siglemic, and sure enough, just a day later, Punke got a 144.05. The runners were separated by just 12 seconds. But instead of defending his record, Siglemic switched categories.
70
He'd
star.
already gotten what he wanted from 120 star, so he was content to sit aside and watch what Punke could do. After a few weeks, Punke's time still remained at 144.05. Yet, his abilities improved all the while.
Siglemic is still top 100 after doing that run over 11 years ago. Holy shit.
He was building up the skills he'd need once that world record chance presented itself. And on May 22nd, he got that chance. First off, Punke still wasn't going for LBLJ. Why? Well, for one thing, there was a misconception of how much time it saved. We know today it saves about 10 seconds, but back then it was believed to be a much smaller time save. But skipping LBLJ was also reflective of Punke's playstyle in general. He had the reputation of being a bit of a safe runner. He was capable of great movement, and had an extremely high skill level, but he didn't always go for the riskiest strategies. Compared to Siglemic, he lost a small amount of time from his gameplay, yet also made fewer mistakes. It meant he got more runs going, with more chances at the record. In this particular run, Punke fell a bit behind early, but avoided a death that Siglemic took during Pillarless. So heading upstairs, he was 15 seconds ahead of the record.
15
The name of the game
seconds?
upstairs is consistency. Since
Oh,
120
no.
star runs are so long, filled with non-stop tech and execution, small mistakes are inevitable through the run. The key is to avoid the big mistakes, especially upstairs, and that was Punkei's specialty. Even though his movement was a bit slower, he made up time by making fewer mistakes. This consistency gave him a lead over the record going into Bowser. But despite over an hour and a half of clean gameplay,
143.
he still had to land 3 Bowser throws,
Hold.
or it would all be for nothing.
3 throws for the 143.
Did it.
Holy shit, wait, he does it. Holy hell.
I did it.
The most prestigious record in all of speedrunning had just changed hands. This was the first time since Siglemic's August marathon that he didn't hold the world record. The community celebrated Punkei's achievement, stunned to see a new name at the top.
Jazz
And it
poo.
was well deserved.
On Twitter.
Punkei had developed the best consistency that the game had ever seen. Throughout the summer of 2014, Siglemic and Punkei raced each other regularly. They formed a great rivalry since they were nearly equal in skill, even if their playstyles were a bit different. But although he enjoyed racing, Siglemic had no interest in going for the record anymore.
Let me tell you, as someone who's a world record contender in a Shawarma Legends, one of the best, probably the best one in the United States, when you're going for the final fucking throws, like, I can't imagine how fast your heart is racing.
After so many years of
Well, like,
playing,
when I'm putting the tzatziki sauce, like the finishing move, like, I'm telling you, I'm so nervous.
he'd done what he wanted with 120 star, and his motivation to lower the record was gone. So now, that meant it was Punkei's game. Could he keep improving the record? The thing is, Punkei hadn't been at this as long as Siglemic. Month after month, his movements and consistency got a little bit better. So, Punkei believed that if he kept going, he could eventually make it to the next minute barrier. While the 143 was associated with Siglemic, maybe Punkei's time could be the 142.
Ooh.
That July, he embarked on a journey to try and get it.
A 142. Holy shit.
Nice, dude. You did it.
Damn, he PB
dude.
to get it
Good
143? Armada tweeted.
Alright, that's a new world record.
Holy shit.
Take it. I still don't think this run is that good.
Classic, you get a world record and say, I don't think it was that good. Such a classic speedrunner thing. Thank you, Jaruda.
No! No, dude! Why? Are you freaking kidding me? No! No, dude!
While the records kept coming, Punkei
No,
couldn't help but get
dude.
frustrated. He'd come so close to the 142,
So
only to have it slip away
close.
in the final seconds. By late July, he'd set 5 world records in a row. Pretty incredible given how nobody had been able to dethrone Siglemic for so long. Now that Punkei had taken over, he was pushing the game to new heights. But the 142 still eluded him.
Anyone
On
want to be
July
my
28th,
girlfriend?
Punkei opened a 10-second lead early. He maintained that lead all the way through the basement, with his only mistakes being relatively minor.
Aga.
He then balanced a big time save in Fire Sea with a bad Jetstream star in Dire Docks. So he made it upstairs with a 16-second lead.
This
on
is it.
pace for a 142.
142!
He then played a classic Punkation upstairs, consistent and clean, without any huge time losses or time gains. Ahead by 19 seconds,
Holy
Punkei
shit.
entered Bowser in the sky. He
No
was
big
far enough ahead
mistakes.
that even with a mistake, he would still be able to get the 142. But the pressure was on. He still had to
Oh,
avoid
please.
dying or something else catastrophic. And we remember what happened last time.
Oh, I thought that was this time. It's
Okay.
so scary.
I
It's
think
too
I'm safe.
scary. Thank you, Ruthless Angel. Oh, careful with that invisible wall. No!
Oh my gosh.
Just go to the side.
I swear. I swear. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this right now. Are you freaking kidding me? I think that just ended it. I think that just ended it.
Okay,
Thank you,
why did
Jamrock.
Pancake keep failing this jump?
That
Well,
fucking
this
wall.
clip explains what's going on. While the axle appears to be rotating around its center, its hitbox actually rotates around one of its points. So if you're standing on the wrong platform and jump at the wrong time, you'll run into the hitbox. Pancake didn't know this, and it cost him a ton of time. Still, maybe there was just enough
Meebo.
room to eke out the 142.
That was it, man. That was 142. I just lost 142 because the invis wall just got me 3 times.
That's
Like,
so
are
sad.
you kidding me?
He missed it by just 2 seconds. Hitting the invisible wall twice would have been okay, but 3 times was too much. He couldn't have found a more disheartening way to lose it. This was the sort of thing that might have haunted Pancake for months.
Someone be
He
his
could have been
girlfriend.
thinking about it every time he had a run go deep, and never quite been able to close it out. But Pancake was getting so many chances, and was improving so much, that he powered through the pain. And just a few days later, he came back and finished the job.
142, baby.
142.59. By the skin of his teeth, this was the run Pancake had been chasing after all summer. And yet, he barely seemed to care. Probably because he knew his work wasn't done yet. The run started with a
I don't
slow
even
Womp's
care.
Fortress, and in Fire Sea he fell down to miss the cycle. Those alone were 30 seconds of possible time save, not to mention other small mistakes throughout the run. So, rather than being satisfied with the 142,
Damn, where's
Pancake just
Siglemic?
kept going. On August 16th, he got a run that capitalized on the Womp's Fortress and Fire Sea time save, but got hit by a shark in
Resting.
Dire Docks.
Bad, 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 bad. No.
Despite that, he kept the run very clean all through upstairs, and going into Rainbow Ride, he had a 13-second lead.
Nearly perfect rainbow ride so far. This is exactly what I need. I don't want to get like a tiny world record improvement, but I don't want to get an improvement by like 2 seconds or something. I just screwed it up.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so maybe
Tiny
not the
world
record he was looking for, but he wasn't done yet. About a month later, Pancake got another small improvement, 142.55. This time, he had slowdowns in Lethal Lava Land and the Vanish Capstar, but made up for it with a very clean upstairs. No death in Rainbow Ride. It all balanced out for another unsatisfying record.
What do you mean
Finally, on
unsatisfying?
September
I'd be so
24th,
happy.
Pancake got the type
2-second
of run
world
he was looking
record.
for. Over the past few weeks, his movement had been getting better and better, and it all came together in this one run. He gained time through the lobby, through the basement, and made it upstairs nearly a half minute ahead of the record.
I'd be happy to
This
finish
was
a
the
run.
fastest
Yeah,
pace anyone
unironically.
had ever been on. And
Truly.
his clean gameplay continued upstairs.
That's actually
Pancake gained
exactly
time
right.
through the next 4 levels, and entering Tippy, he had a 40-second lead. In the last few levels, he finally faltered a bit. A coin fell off once again in TikTok Clock, so he had to do the backup.
Ugh.
And in Rainbow Ride, he made an all-too-familiar mistake.
He dies again! Dude, I never go for that shit. I can't figure it
Still,
out.
he managed to keep a good chunk of his lead, and it culminated
too
in a
scary.
final time of 142.41. A sizable world record, close to what he was looking for. Had Tippy
Who's
gone
gonna
as
be
smoothly as the rest of the run,
challenging
this
Pancake?
might have felt close to unbeatable. Pancake was now more than a full minute ahead of Siglemic's last record.
Holy
This
shit.
was a similar level of domination to what Siglemic had had a couple years ago. Punke had done it through a combination of consistency and gradual movement improvements. He saved fractions of a second here and there on stars.
Cheese has
That
such
adds up
a
to
good
decent
origin
time save
story.
across all 120 stars.
Just wait.
Punke was the
Just
king,
what true cinema.
at least until October 2014, when perhaps the biggest discovery in 120-star history was made. Alright, you're familiar with cannonless. This trick was the bane of 120-star runners' existence. It was effectively random. Even if you performed it correctly, you just ran at the wall and hoped to collect the star. It worked around 20% of the time, and if you didn't get it within a couple tries, you were forced to reset the run.
Fuck that.
It was
OG
possible to get
cannonless.
stuck in this loop for a long time, and top 120-star runners hated it. But in October 2014, it was Sockfolder to the rescue. Sockfolder is a legendary glitch hunter who has found setups for tricks in popular speedruns like Ocarina of Time and Super Mario Bros. One day, he posted on Twitter, "For fun, I will make a 100% cannonless setup." And
Giga
that's
Chad.
exactly what he
Giga
did.
fucking Chad.
After a few tweaks to
Holy
simplify things,
shit.
Sockfolder had invented a setup to hit cannonless every single time. You grab the wall next to the plank and pull yourself up. Adjust the camera, then backflip onto the plank, punch once, hold down to grab the edge of the plank, then adjust the camera
right?
once more, pull yourself up, and hold down to run off the edge. If done correctly, you'll grab the star every time. There's several steps involved, but none of it's
the reason, Vivek, is because there's a very specific texture on here that you want to be right on top of.
difficult, and it wastes only a few seconds compared to running at the wall. This was so huge for the speedrun. Runners no longer had to waste hours trying cannonless over and over. They could get so many more runs going.
Damn!
And now, it was only a matter of time before Punke would get another record improvement. He continued doing attempts in late 2014. Keep in mind, the record he was up against had a very fast start. It was only in Tippy that it began to bleed time. So on December 18th, despite falling as far behind as 28 seconds, he was able to bring it back. He had a very clean tick-tock clock to save 14 seconds,
that fucking
pushing him into the lead. And in the home stretch, Punke preserved that lead. He landed all 3 Bowser throws and closed out the run as a 142-32.
You remember how much Sig struggled for a 144? Now they're already at a 142.
Was Punke's 11th consecutive world record. Since taking over, he'd taken exactly 1 minute and 20 seconds off the 120-star record. The simple reason for this? Punke had consistency that was unrivaled, even by Siglemic at his best. While these two were roughly equal in skill in mid-2014, as the year went on, Siglemic stopped playing and Punke just pulled away. As of late 2014, that was the state of 120-star. Punke was in full control of the leaderboard.
Until
the new cannonless setup had opened the door to new possibilities.
A new challenger
While
emerges.
Punke had already taken the time to a mid-142, there was certainly room to keep dropping it with more attempts. The future was wide open. But to show you the next chapter in 120-star's history, I actually want to go back a few months. Back to that period in mid-2014, when Punke and Siglemic were both active, racing each other regularly and having a blast competing together. Now, we know that Siglemic's world records have largely been lost to time. So frankly, the clip I'm about to show you from a random stream of his, it's incredible that it somehow survived. This was most likely from June 3rd, 2014, just a couple weeks after Punke first took the record from Siglemic. Sig and Punke were about to race each other, one-on-one in 70-star. The two best runners in the world going head-to-head, with thousands of people watching live.
Wait!
This was gonna be good.
I know this!
But then, right as they were about to start, a third player joined the race. This player was a promising runner, rising up the ranks, but really nothing special yet. He was in 29th place on the leaderboard. Nobody was paying attention to this guy. Why would he join a race against number 1 and number 2? But maybe he was confident for a reason. Although he got crushed by Siglemic and Punke in this race, he wasn't discouraged. And over the next several years, this guy would go on to set more world records, and perhaps have the greatest legacy of anybody who has ever played Super Mario 64. And the very first time that people heard his name was this clip from Siglemic's stream.
Dude, who's this random dude? Cheese05? Why did you join this race?
Ooh,
This is the race
cheese!
between two titans. You'll get
He couldn't have been more wrong. God damn. Part 1? What are we watching? Spider-Man? I want to see part 2 now. That was so fucking good. I can't get over it.